All right. So welcome everybody. My name's Ron Brooks. I got nickname Champ. You can catch me at champronbrooks.com. I'm excited today. Introduce our guest that's going to walk us through, very powerful software that I picked up in 2020 myself, that I came across. And, I got started in the real estate business back in 2007. I actually started as a buy and hold investor. Went through all the kind of the dark ages of 08, 09, 10, was able to weather some of that storm. I was doing this concurrent with a banking career. And then, now kind of, full time since 2018. And do a good bit of wholesaling business. As I see Pauline out there. We want to give everybody a chance to speak, and Lawrence and Joni and that sort of thing. Everybody a chance to introduce themselves. But so I've had some experience in real estate, and one of the things that was always a challenge was you got to have good data, right, to make decisions off of, and you need tools that allow you to get data, to synthesize it, and allow you to make those decisions, and then also help you be able to market to the audience that you want to market to. So no matter what your exit strategy is in real estate, whether you're a buy and hold, you're a flipper, you like lease options, you like subject to, whatever it is that you're doing, having kind of a comprehensive kind of one-stop shop for data and marketing was critical. And so just to give a little context, and Burton, who I'll introduce here in just a second, we were talking about Clubhouse, and of course for those of you that have been on there, of course everybody's made a bunch of money, right? Everybody's a millionaire, at least from their bio. I've done well, particularly over the last 60 days, from a monetary standpoint, and really leveraging this software that we're going to talk about today in a very strategic way. And so, before I introduce my guests, I want to hear from everybody, since we've got kind of a small group, and hopefully some others will jump in. As I mentioned earlier, some jumped in a couple hours early and didn't really look at the time zone. So hopefully they'll pop in. But I see my man Lawrence Thompson out there. I see, obviously Joni, and I see Pauline. So Joni, you were on first. So why don't we start with you? Do you want to just kind of give a quick introduction and what you look to learn today from this prop stream?
Well, like you, I also started real estate investing in 2007. I had a few ups and a lot of downs. So in 2009, got rid of all of my property, and just didn't do anything for a while. Recently, I just purchased 2 multi-unit properties in New Orleans. That's where I'm from. I don't live there. I live in Southern California.
Okay.
I'm looking for more properties in New Orleans to purchase multi-unit properties. So that's why I got PropStream. I'm looking for maybe distressed properties, and I'd like to learn more how to target those people and as well as those properties.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I appreciate you being here, and certainly on time. And like I said, it looks like there was some mix-up. I'll have to make sure maybe I have a little more clarity for some folks, because I got a message about 2 hours ago that maybe like 15 people had jumped on like at 10 a.m. So, 10 a.m. Central Time, which
Okay.
8 a.m. you guys' time. But thank you, Joni. I really appreciate that, and I think you'll get your questions answered today for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Pauline, if you want to unmute yourself and share with us kind of what you've got going on and a little bit about your background.
Sure. Hi, guys. I'm an investor, an out-of-state investor that does buy and holds in Memphis, but I too also live in Southern California. I'm looking to build a team in California that's interested in Memphis, Mississippi, and Arkansas. So I'm kind of looking at the prospect of PropStream, trying to see, what kind of deals that I could get singly without like overwhelming some of the wholesalers that I use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. No, no, definitely. And Pauline and I have had a chance to meet and have some really good conversations. So I really appreciate her jumping in. And, she does tremendous work, her and her team, like she mentioned here in this Memphis area. I've been able to see it firsthand. And so, Pauline, thank you for joining as well. My man, Lawrence Thompson. Man, you're out there. If you unmute yourself, man, share with us a little bit about yourself and kind of what you're looking to get out of this.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Lawrence Thompson. I'm out of Memphis, Tennessee. I have an insurance company that I run, but I want to also get into wholesaling, and so I want to be able to get into wholesale. So I'm a newbie in this space and everything. And so what I want to get out of this is how to find those investors, and then also find those properties that I can kind of turn into wholesaling as of right now as being a newbie, and then eventually get some buy and holds, but actually get my feet wet where I'm actually seeing what's there, knowing what's happening, knowing how to appraise it the right way so that the investor and me could benefit from it and not just be upside down my way and make the investor run away from me. So I don't want to be that new person that they say I don't want to do deals with you. So that's who I am. Like I said, I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, and that's who I am.
All right. Lawrence, thank you so much, man. And Lawrence has been a tremendous help, helping me look at some properties, kind of along the way as he's coming along. So, man, definitely appreciate that, as well. I see, one of my business partners across the border has joined us, Cedric Daly. Who's an investor, they're in north of the border, they're in Canada. So Cedric, if you want to share, a little bit of your background and kind of what you're looking to learn today.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. I appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I see Pauline, familiar name there. I'm Cedric Daly, and like Ron said, I'm an investor myself. I have 11 doors up in Canada, more northern Ontario, and Windsor area by Detroit. But Ron is really good at what he does. We run a lot of ideas past each other. But in terms of PropStream, it's a great tool. I know Ron uses it daily. I have other tools I've been using, but I want to really just get a grasp at kind of what's so powerful, why PropStream is so powerful. So it's you're always learning every day. So that's kind of what I want to learn from this today.
Yeah, excellent. No, Cedric, I appreciate that, man, and thank you so much. And again, thank
Hi,
you all.
Cedric.
Hey, Pauline, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Can't complain. I know I saw
Yeah.
the name. I got a good chuckle. I'm like, you and I, we're always trying to learn. I say, if every day you learn something new, you're doing well.
Absolutely. It seems like the trio because I'm always going back and forth between you and Ron, talking about ideas. But I was meaning to call you. Did that investor reach out to you?
Yeah, actually, I did speak to him. He did. I did speak to him.
Perfect.
Yeah, James.
Perfect.
Yeah, we did chat about the storage units.
Awesome. He's
you for
doing
that.
big things in Memphis.
Yeah, so I hear. He's very interested in single family homes and some multiplexes. So I'm pretty sure we can do something together.
Yep. Oh, good.
Yep.
I should pass them your information too, Ron.
Yeah, well, that'd be great. Yeah, that would be great. So I definitely appreciate that. So yeah,
And
so we can share
Lawrence.
all the loves. Yeah, if we can share all the love, all the way around. We don't want to exclude anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, we could all share the love. That's for sure. Especially since we've got this kind of smaller, kind of merry band here.
It's true, but you know what? There's enough for everybody. Seriously, there's enough for everybody.
Absolutely. There definitely is, Pauline. That's a nice segue. As I introduce our guest today, Burton Alicando joins us from PropStream, and it's tremendous to have someone of this resource. A lot of us that use PropStream, I could probably fumble around and share my screen and that sort of thing, and show you the way I use it, right? But there's another thing to have an expert who works this every day, who's part of the organization, and Burton and his team have been tremendous and helping me personally and helping many investors and people in the real estate industry all around the country and quite frankly around the world. And so for him to agree to take time out with us to kind of walk through PropStream, to me was tremendous and a great honor. So Burton, I want to give the floor to you and thank you so much again, man, for taking time. And if you want to kind of introduce yourself and give a little background and color, please, feel free.
Yeah, most definitely. First and foremost, Ron, thank you for having me here. I'm really excited. I'm honored, honestly. And don't ever thank us, man. You're part of our family. So just ask anytime and I'm there, assuming the schedule lines up. But for those that don't know me, I've been with Propstream for just shy about 8 years now. Started back in 2013. Pretty much, I started as a tech support agent. I was back in the day just helping people install this application. You would not imagine that we were on a CD at one point, and you got to have like Windows XP to even install it. But that's where we started initially. To go further back, we actually founded our company back in 2005. And so, Ron and Joni would probably contest to this. Back in those days, what we're staring at today with Propstream did not exist at all. Most of the data was localized information. So you had to go to the county directly or Joe's pre-foreclosure-site.com, and assuming Joe didn't take all the good ones from you first, right? So this information was localized. The MLS data was also localized as well. You had to be a realtor for that board to get access. So our company back in the day just went for an impossible task. Can we get all that data nationwide and put it on one platform? And I think we did a good job. We're not perfect. I don't think we're where we want to be right now, but we are here today. So we've managed to make it through. Now, we've learned along the way. Right. Back then, it was all about pre-foreclosures and REO and cash records. And then when the market shifted, we understood that we needed more than just those records. So we've just constantly been developing our system to something of a unique nature. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a few minutes. But that's a little bit about us, a little bit about me. But my goal today is to pretty much just clear the fog. I know you guys have heard about Propstream or using it. Whether you've just heard about it or you're using it, my goal today is to make sure you guys see its total power. And even if you're not going to use it today, I guarantee you that I'm going to drop some gems today where hopefully by the end of today, you'll be looking at data just slightly a little bit different. Okay. So with that said, Ron, if you're cool, I'd like to just share my screen and jump right on in it.
Absolutely, man. Go ahead. Go for it.
Let's go for it. So here's the thing. So let's start with just a visual outline of what we'll be looking at today. Now, I won't be going through every one of these features, but for those that are just wondering, what does Propstream do? It's a two-part system. So the first part of our system is lead generation, and this will allow you to do 3 phases of lead generation. So the first phase is build a list. You can search any market in the United States, and you can filter through our 18 categories that we have offered to you, or you can build your own lists, and then you can save your lists and then export that data. Because some of you guys are just here for the owner's name, mailing information, characteristics, mortgage data, HOA data, whatever it may be. Phase 2 is gathering contact information. So we have skip tracing embedded in Propstream. So whatever list you build in phase 1, you can skip trace it. In about 15 minutes or less, we can get you a phone number, an email, or a landline. And then you can export that data and start cold calling your list, or give it to your assistant to cold call, or upload it to a dialer. And then phase 3 is direct marketing. So you can build a list, get their contact information, and directly market to the list right after that. So in the marketing area, you get to take that marketing list, let's say cash buyers list, get their contact information. And then when you take it to the marketing area, you get to create a website for your cash buyers. And then after you create a website that says, hey buyers, how would you like to buy this property? Let's say that's the message you're throwing out there. You'll then be able to send them either a postcard directly through Propstream, a ringless voicemail directly through Propstream, or an email marketing directly to Propstream. And then you repeat that process again, because your next list is a tax delinquency list, right? And so phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, repeat the process for your auctions list, phase 1, phase 2, and just keep going back. Now, whether you're doing these 3 phases through Propstream, a different platform, or you're manually doing it and going to the county, knocking on a door, getting an appointment scheduled, you're probably going to still need to analyze that property. And so the stage 2 of Propstream is property analyzing, where you can search the address of the homeowner that's interested in selling, or search an address that you pulled up next to while you're driving, and find the opportunities. Now, here's the thing when it comes to opportunities. When you pull up a property, this is where we give all of our say on average now about 8 different websites are coming together. So the HOA website, the county website, the mortgage website, the realtor's website, tax information, it's all coming together on one page. And that's where you can find opportunities. Now I put an asterisk there because opportunities could be something very obvious, like a pre-foreclosure, a lien, a bankruptcy. Sometimes these opportunities aren't so obvious, like going into the tax tab and seeing that the tax increased by 10% last year, or seeing that the owner's in a different state, or seeing that they have 2 mortgage notes, right? Things that sometimes aren't on a list that you normally would seek after. Now, after searching that address and finding the opportunities and talking with confidence while you're on the phone, hopefully the owner is going to ask for a price, and you can use PropStream to run your comps using public or MLS records nationwide, right? And that's going to help you calculate your after repair value. And from there, you can then print that report. So by printing the report, you'll now have a report you can send to your sellers, use it when you're negotiating face-to-face, or a report that you can send to your buyers after you lock up the contract to show them what the ARV could be. And then we have some additional features. Team members. So if you're scaling, you can get more team members if you'd like. List Automator. This is an add-on, but what List Automator does, 2 huge things. It allows you to import data into PropStream. So if you have an outside list, but that list does not have MLS data or equity data, you can bring it in and we'll give you our information on that stuff. And you can monitor a list or automate a list. That's why we call it List Automator. So what List Automator does, other than importing a list and getting our data, is that when you search and filter and save your list, we can then automate that filter of yours and add and remove properties for you going forward. You never have to do the search again, and you never have to worry about a property that's saved that no longer meets your criteria. So that's what List Automator does. And to wrap it up, we do have the mobile app, the Driving for Dollars app, or I call it the PropStream Data on the Go app. This app allows you to see all of our data on the desktop on the go. It allows you to run comps, see the opportunity like equity and lien information on the property, and then you can skip trace and send postcards on the go. So this is just...
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Burton.
No, you did it.
I want to highlight a quick point because Pauline mentioned about building her team kind of in this area. And, so for everybody, whether it's Cedric, Joni, and Lawrence, I've been able to do this with a few of my team members is utilize PropStream and the mobile app for those that are somewhat, bird dogs are kind of in the streets, right? And so it's a tremendous way for them to get access to this data that, Burton's going to speak to and kind of speak to that scaling. So it's really economical, but it's a great way for teammates as you pick them up to join with you to have access to this same data. So just wanted to highlight that.
Love it. Thank you so much, Ron. So what I'm going to do now that you guys see, the outline, I'm going to focus on stage 2. I think this will kind of share our business, like what we really are known for. So let's start with searching an address. So Ron, you want to throw a county my way? Any county?
Since we love Memphis here, let's throw in Shelby County.
Shelby County. Okay. So, all right. So this is our business. When we get into a market like Shelby County, and I'm going to clear it out really quick. This is what we actually do. We start off by grabbing parcel records. So for those that know, every property starts with the parcel line, right? So before a building is ever built, you see these parcel lines, and then that line is given, or that little box is given what we call an APN number. But this is our business. We take that parcel line, that's where we started off back in 2005, and we scrub it against all these categories that you see here at the top. So here's just a few. Actually, let me replace the last one back to what it should be. It should be high equity. But this is what we do. We take this parcel and we scrub it against our MLS data, our pre-foreclosure data, our auction data, our foreclosure data, our non-owner occupied cash transaction data, our lien data, our properties not answering their mail data, our properties that have 100,000 or 50% in equity data. And we also have in our filter 10 other options. Free and clear, they have no mortgage. Bankruptcies, Chapter 7, 11, 13s, divorce records, tax delinquencies, flippers, anybody that bought a property and is selling it in 2 years or less, failed listings, someone that changed their mind or someone that expired, A senior owner, 25 years of ownership, or a senior owner tax exemption or a reverse mortgage. Vacant land, these are just properties with no buildings, essentially just vacant land. Tired landlords, non-owner occupied properties with 15 years of ownership. And zombie properties. These are properties in both pre-foreclosure and vacant listings at the same time. So when I click on any random parcel here in Shelby County, so if I click on this property right here, what it's doing is it's showing me a brief description of this property, but here's the bread and butter. When I go into the details, this is what we're known for. So every single property, 153 million properties in our database, is going to have this layout. This is called our property details layout. So we could have found this property by searching the address, or in this case, I clicked on the parcel, right? Again, I could have taken the address instead of clicking on the parcel. I could have just searched it in the address. Now there's a slight difference when I'm searching in the address or the search bar. It's going to, instead of giving me the address on the center of the screen, it's going to give me the address on the right-hand side over here. And then on the map, it's going to show me the subject property and all the neighboring homes around it. And then over here on the right-hand side, I get to see all the MLS listings around it, all the pre-foreclosures around it, all the foreclosures around it. We're also going to take the zip code of that property and show you the local listings in that zip code, like what's populated in our database. But again, this is just what we call local knowledge. You search an address, you probably didn't know this, so here you go. We even give you the statistics down below, show you any trends that might be important. But again, inevitably, you'll go into the details, same details we saw a few moments ago. But this is our business. So we took that parcel and we scrubbed it across all of our other data and then put it on this one page. So here at the very top is our dashboard. I'm able to see the property's photos. So the Google Maps, or if it's been on market, I'm going to be able to see any of the current MLS photos or historical MLS photos, property characteristics, and then we're going to summarize our data. We're going to let you know the property type, whether it's on or off market, whether it's in pre-foreclosure or not, whether you need to do a short sell or not. Short sell no means that there's positive equity. Short sell yes means that there's negative equity and you might have to buy it above market value or consider a short sell or some sort of creative seller financing strategy. Is it in an HOA? Type of owner. Is the owner occupying the property or is it non-owner occupied? Are they answering their mail, occupied, or is it vacant, not answering their mail? Length of ownership. So in this case, this property has been owned for a long time. We haven't seen or been able to calculate how long they've owned it. Purchase method, the county it's in, our estimated value calculation, which you should never go by. Think of it as like your credit score on your banking app. It's in the right range, but you know you never want to use it. Last sales estimated value. We found 86 properties that sold in a half mile. We didn't filter it for you, but we just took those sell prices and averaged it out for you, averaged out how fast those guys are selling. And then we're going to show you the mortgage and debt summary. So if there's any open mortgages, we'll show you how many there are, what the open mortgage balance is. If there are any liens, we'll show you how many they are and what the lien amount is. And then the opportunity, the equity, the monthly rent, and gross yield. And then if we're able to have it captured, the last and prior sell, public record, and MLS. So this property sold so long ago that we can't even find the records of when it sold. But down below, all of this information here is broken into finer detail. So we can see the property details, owner info, property characteristics, building size, land location information, tax information. Now, let's say I'm interested. Let's say, hey, we talked to Peggy. Peggy, hey, what's going on? I'm a home buyer in the neighborhood. I'm looking to buy homes in this area. When I'm talking to Peggy, I now have a page I can use to talk with confidence. I can talk to her about her property being nearly 70 years old, right? I can talk to her about the hassle of only having one bathroom. I can talk to her about maybe living in a different address if she did live in a different address, right? So this is what I mean by finding opportunities. She's not in a pre-foreclosure. She's not on market. She's not having to do a short sell, but there are some opportunities here we can utilize during the conversation, right?
Hey, Burton, real quick, not to interrupt you, but Pauline raised her hand and had a question, I believe. So I want to give her an opportunity to ask that, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. Hey, Burton, in California, I'm not quite sure in other states, but they do have a no-call list. Does PropStream implement that when you're looking at properties?
Well, the properties won't tell you whether they're on the do not call list, but when you like, I guess the question is that when you skip trace with us, do we scrub it on the do not call list? So when we're giving you a phone
Yes.
number or an email, no, we do not. So when you skip trace with us, Pauline, you want to definitely take the responsibility and get that list scrubbed on your own free time.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And just know that what you're seeing right now, this is all public information. So this is not something that is withheld or should it be held or should it be shown to the public. What we're seeing here is all public information. But to your point, once we start skip tracing, and once you get the telephone and email, that is, and you actually will see a warning that says we recommend that you scrub it on the do not call list. All right. So with that said, again, property details are here. Hopefully you can find the opportunity. Let's say the opportunity today is that Peggy, wants to get rid of the 7-year-old building. Maybe she wants to downgrade to a 2-bedroom property. So she's asking us, well, what are you going to offer me? What's the price? Right. So here's where we can now get a price: comparables and nearby listings. So in the comparables and nearby listings, the whole bottom half is going to change. And we're going to show you the 86 properties that you saw up here that sold. Again, these are unfiltered. We're going to show you the flip comps, any property that was bought and flipped in 2 years, right? So you get to see some behaviors in this area that could be interesting. So these 2 boxes are the most important. But then we show you the neighbors, just in case you're like in a cul-de-sac or gated community, cash buyers in case you lock up a contract and now you need a buyer in the neighborhood, and all the other listings, like any other pre-foreclosures and any other bank loan properties and any other liens. But the 2 most important boxes are really these 2. So when it comes to comparables, here's how we do it. We don't do it for you. We actually just dump the records on your table for you. And in the comparables, you'll have access to use public records, which is everything officially recorded at the county we've been able to collect. Now, the only thing that you need to worry about when you're using these comps is that you want to control your sell date range. So by default, it's a year. You can go beyond a year. You can cut it lower. So if we wanted to, we can say, you know what, let's start with July 1st of this last year. So only 7 months. Bedrooms, right? 3-bedroom minimum, bathroom, 1-bedroom minimum. Year built, square footage. Sold status doesn't apply to public records, only applies to the MLS, but public record sell does apply. Now, as you're going through your results, you'll see that some of them are color coded. What do these colors mean? They're right down here. So the green ones are cash transactions, light blue foreclosures, and everything in between. So the challenge is that you want to be careful, right? You don't want to be using cash transactions because a lot of cash transactions are as is values, like this one right here that you see. So what we recommend that you do is use finance public records. So these are all the properties that were financed by a bank. And here's why they're important, because you could see the photos and see why a bank would want to finance such a property, because it's been cleaned up, it's been rehabbed. Remember, banks finance properties that they can sell again if they have to repossess later on, right? So when you're using our comps, you can use our public records or our MLS records. So you can tap into what the agents have in that market. Same filters apply. The only difference is status. By default, we show you sold listings, but you can see pending listings. You can see active listings, see what's listed in the market. But again, we usually want you to use sold listings. And then you can increase or decrease your distance for both of these categories, and then apples to apples. We want residential and property type. Now, the last option is both. Let's just put them side by side together. And so this is going to show you the green records, which are public records, and the blue records, which are MLS records. So the concept is we're not going to do the comps for you. We want to show you that here are all the records we've collected. It's in your best interest to filter them out for yourselves. And then you'll get your comps just like this. So right now, 66 results, way too many. Maybe do a 0.25 radius to tighten it up a little bit. Here we go, 14 comps. What I normally encourage is to deselect everything. Look at your values, look at characteristics, look for similarities. Definitely click on photos, right? Make sure you have photos. Go through them, make sure the property was rehabbed. And then after you go through photos, click on the results that represent the property in its, perfect condition, like the rehab condition. And as you do that, once you select your results, you can now hit actions and hit view comps report. And what that will do is it will generate a comps report for you. So this report looks just like this here. So hang on just a second here.
As you're doing that, Burton, so Cedric and Pauline, specifically, that's what you've seen me send to you, right? When I've pulled up a property and we're reviewing it. So just to give you a
Yep.
little transparency there, that's where this comes from.
Yeah, so you'll
Perfect.
see the subject, property, and its characteristics, listing history, MLS history, your search criteria, and then we don't give them a flat ARV, we give them a range. We say, hey, it could sell between this to that, in the middle is right over here. And we do that so we don't anchor lock our investors, right? You anchor lock them, you say, hey, ARV is 191, that's how much they think they're going to make, period. But if you say 181 to 205, hey, their ROI is on you now. Depends on how you rehab it. Here's the subject, and here are where the comps are based on their summary photos, and then a little bit of the photos there. So again, negotiation piece, right? So this is our property detail. This is our property details page. This is essentially where, I mean, every property can do that. And then we give you the tax information, documents and reports, and then you can tag the property like, hey, you know what, they're not interested, or schedule an appointment, put property tags like broken windows, leave notes. You can print all of this detail. So hit the print button and we give you a CMA on this property. It's pretty much all of the data we just looked at right here on a printable report. And so while that's generating, we also have an analysis wizard. Lets you calculate your ROI for fixing and flipping the property or you're renting it. So you can put your purchase amount, improvements, you can break down your improvements, your mortgage information, your rental income, your monthly expenses, and then how you're going to go about selling this property. And are you going to sell it based on a 5-year analysis, a 15-year analysis, or maybe in 6 months? All right, we're going to sell this property in 11 months, and you'll be able to calculate what your ROI is. And then you can print out any reports as well. So every single property you click on is going to look like that, but no two properties look the same. All right, so let's just kind of look at this property really quick. It goes from property details to comparables and nearby listings because it's not distressed, it's not on market, it doesn't have any liens. But here's another property that I found, and this one's in Miami. So we're going to step out of this market just as an example. Looks the same when I search the property, right? Nothing different, but when I go to the details, look at this property. This property is going through a pre-foreclosure, so I see that. It's going through a lien, so I see that. Filed for bankruptcy, so I see that. And it's going through, or it went through a failed listing, so I see that. And then I can run comps on it, right? So this is our business. Our business was to take that parcel, scrub it across all of these categories so that when you click on the property, you're able to see all of that on one page. Not I have to go to the county's website to see the pre-foreclosure document, then have my realtor on the line to say, hey, did you see if this property was on market? All of that comes together, okay? If you guys can give me a second, I have someone banging on my door. So Ron, hold on one second, all right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. No, absolutely. So, guys, I'll jump in as Burton's dealing with that. And so, as I come across opportunities or, someone on my team that may be, kind of driving for dollars, they're pulling this information up and then we're able to use this and kind of synthesize it a little bit to, to kind of make decisions, right. And to help, get some kind of math behind, after repair values or ARVs. And, with, folks that are, in buyers, if you're wholesaling, how you can have some level of data to be able to provide to your end buyer so that he or she can make, kind of clear decisions, right. If that makes sense. So. Does anybody have any quick thoughts while Burton's, kind of away for a second? Any thoughts or any questions? We see Ashley and Barnett joined us, and so thank them so much for jumping in.
Hey, Ron, so I got a question, Ron. So like, how they talk about, make sure the percentages are right. Like I said, I want to be just in the wholesaling space right now and make sure that the percentages are right. Do this actually help with that, or what he was talking about, that you actually see the range in there?
Yeah. So if you're thinking of, Lawrence, like percentages, so you're thinking of the math of like what an end buyer would pay for a property. Um, and
Yeah.
so if, and of course, Pauline might have had to jump off. She might have had another meeting, but, so you're exactly right. I always have
No,
this
I'm still
philosophy.
here.
Are you still there? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see you down there. So yeah, I want you to kind of jump in on this question, with that Lawrence has, with you, obviously being a tremendous kind of in cash buyer. But Lawrence, so you're exactly right. You want to know your percentages. So I tend to have the philosophy, and Cedric's heard me say this a million times. You want to try as much as possible to think like the end buyer. And so you're exactly right. Each end buyer has their own philosophy, but typically they like to be at around 70% of the ARV, after the purchase price and rehab is done, right? So that's pretty much a standard, but you'll see, several different, kind of percentages with that.
I would
Pauline?
agree.
Yeah.
I would say 75% for single family. And then if you get into, duplexes, quads, then you're looking at 70%.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a buy and hold type investor, they're going to refi whatever hard money loan, or even if they're using cash of their own, they're going to want to put that cash back. So you're always looking at those ratios going into a deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, thank you for that, Pauline. That's tremendous. Hey, so Bert, we want to try to keep the seat warm for you while you had to step away.
Oh, no,
So,
no, I'm just
so-
listening and absorbing information. I really respect you guys filling the void right there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So this is, again, the stage 2, analyzing a property. The idea, the reason why we create it this way is, again, back in the day, right? Imagine an investor with no internet, none of this stuff, no technology. You get a call, someone calls you, you're now having to shuffle through your paperwork, right? This document, that, trying to talk with confidence and not stumble on the conversation. For the first time ever, I can talk to Mr. Hoven about his pre-foreclosure with confidence, about his lien that was recorded, actually all the 3 lien holders that are after him. I can talk about the bankruptcy he filed back in 2017, and we can utilize the fact that he tried to sell it on market at 1.25 and it failed, kind of as leverage. Like, hey, I know you want 1.25, but we clearly know that didn't work out, right? That's the idea, is that this is that one source where now when I'm talking to this homeowner or maybe a neighbor down the block right over here, when we're talking to these individuals, we wanted to give you an area in which you can talk with that much confidence, right? Know how much we've calculated their mortgage, know whether they're in the area or in a different area, see their tax information and so forth. Okay, so that's stage 2 of PropStream. But the reason I started here is because that's where we started our business, is can we get all the records on an individual property? Again, we're not perfect. There could be records out there that haven't been pushed out yet that we haven't captured, or could have slipped through our fingers and we just didn't capture it, right? But reason why I wanted to start you there is because that's the data in which you'll be using when you're building a marketing list. So what we just covered was all of property analyzing, right? You search an address, you find those opportunities, you run comps, and then print that report. Let's talk about building a list now, right? Specifically phase 1. So when you're searching at a market, you have 4 markets that you can search. So we can search by county, like Shelby County, Tennessee. We can search by a city. So instead of the county, we can search for the entire city. And then if not the city, the last possible search would be by zip code. So we can do, let's say, 38120. Now, the cool thing with the zip code is that you can search up to 5 zip codes. That's the only one you can do that. So you can do like 38120, 38117, 38115. And as you're applying, up to 5, you'll see the drop-down menu. You can click on that and we'll give you the results to those 3, 2, 3, 1, or up to 5 zip codes. The last possible search is the draw search feature. This allows you to zoom in on a market, right? Can do a huge market, but zoom on a market, and through a series of left clicks. So you're going to find a starting area. So we'll start here, and through a series of left clicks, so make sure you let it go, you can customize your own shape if you'd like, and hit search, and we'll just find the leads in that shaded area for you. Okay, so all the buyers, all the sellers. I mean, if you know an area that's really hot, this is how you want to go about it. Now, I personally like that feature with our heat map here on the right side. A lot of people don't even know we have this, but I've never been in this market. So what I could say is, okay, I'm unfamiliar with Memphis. Let me see one of 4 categories. Show me the estimated values in Memphis, Tennessee. And so here we can see where all the $1 million properties are, 100 or less, everything in between. MLS stats show me either lot sizes, and so the graph chart will change, the legend will change, or listing prices. And so we'll see that. Price growth, show me how this has grown in the last year or this environment, and we can see pockets of substantial growth. And rent values for any buy and hold ones. What are the rent prices on average on a monthly basis? Red are the 5,000 a month, light blue are 500 or less, and everything in between. So with the heat map and the draw search feature, I could say, show me how this area has grown. Here's a market there's been substantial growth in. Now that I'm there, I'm going to use the draw search feature, kind of let the bubbles color in really quick. But then once I do that, I can color my own area and hit search. So I've used the heat map to pinpoint an area of growth, found that area, and now I'm using the draw search feature to isolate that area for me. Okay. So these are the 4 possible search. This door will not stop ringing. Can I just stop really quick? Give me about 2 minutes. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. And so let's see. So those different ways to be able to search within the software. John, you had an interesting question. I was going to ask this, once Burton comes back and we get to skip tracing. And I know you've got to run to another meeting. But with skip tracing a company or an LLC, and anybody else that wants to weigh on this, Cedric or Pauline, typically when I'm skip tracing like an LLC, if you skip trace them like in Propstream or any other skip tracing service, you'll get a number that if it pulls up something, it's going to pull up a number associated with that LLC, whatever's on public record. Typically, I use a site, and John, you mentioned using this too, opencorporates.com. So just as it sounds, opencorporates.com. You can search a registered company and see the registered agents, right, and get names that way. But otherwise, if you skip trace an LLC, you're generally going to get, if they have a number associated with them, you'll get that. You just may not know who you're calling when you dial that number, and if someone picks up, if it's a good number. But Cedric or Pauline, did you have any thoughts on that real quick? Kind of skip tracing companies, and if you've had any success or any other tools you may use?
Actually, I'm new to this. This would be the first time doing it.
Yeah. It's a little interesting because, obviously people, that's why they use, LLCs in the first place, right? Company. One piece is to not have their personal name out there. So it's a little, it's a little bit of a chore to have to do it. Like I say, that's the tools that I've used is to pull it up in opencorporates.com, type in the LLC name and get, the registered agent. So you have the individual. And then at that point, skip trace that individual and then, kind of go from there. So, Bert, we were just talking a little bit of skip tracing and there was a question, if it's okay to ask now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So Joni had a question and she can unmute herself and add any color, but essentially her question was skip tracing companies or LLCs and kind of the best way to do that. What I shared was, I use a site called opencorporates.com to kind of cross-reference the LLC with the registered agent for the company.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you use a skip tracing service, my experience has been either no number comes up probably most of the time, or if you do get something, of course, then you don't really know who you're calling. You're just kind of making a very blind call. Any quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, actually skip tracing LLCs and trusts and corporations are really hard to do. There are a few entities out there, but they only do it in certain regions. But that's essentially the sole purpose of that. To create an LLC, to create an S Corp, to create a trust is to essentially be kind of hidden in the dark, right? It's to protect your assets, also to kind of make sure that no one's calling you directly. So yeah, Joni, the best areas to do that is, usually a company is publicly registered. So you can go to the county, get that type of information, and then you'll see the owner's name. You can put them on a list and then skip trace that list if you'd like. But that's the only avenue there. So yeah, our company will also struggle when it comes to skip tracing that as well. All right. So now that you guys know the 4 searches, let's talk about building a list. And so here's the thing. This is where we kind of really shine a lot. So When it comes to building a list, let's go back to Shelby County here. Again, we have 18 categories, which I went over earlier, right? Now, if we were to just go off categories, right? This is how I would essentially categorize them. So this is what I call my motivation chart. Feel free to copy this if you guys want. But this is my essentially philosophy of home ownership, right? So when you're talking, remember, you're not talking to a list, you're talking to a person, right? And so that person is either in three situations of home ownership. They're either good, which is pretty much leave me alone. They're an uh-oh, which, yeah, let's consider what you have to say. And then they're need help. Let's go ahead and get this going, right? So if we were to just take the categories that we have and put them in any of these three situations, this is how I would coin them. You know, your pre-foreclosures and auctions and foreclosures will be in this area. Your uh-oh scenarios would be things before that, like bankruptcies, divorces, vacant, and so forth. And then you're good, or you're like your cash buyers, your high equity, or free and clear, people that just don't need to sell a property at a discount. So if we were to go off a list and say, okay, which lists are motivations, this is it, right? So when it comes to building a list, I can go to Shelby County and I can choose any of these categories. If I wanted a pre-foreclosure, I can choose the pre-foreclosures. And now we're looking at the most motivated 186 properties in this county, right? And then with our filter, after we choose that high motivation, we can use our additional filters, like whether it's owner occupied or non-owner occupied or both, whether they're answering their mail or not answering their mail or both, property characteristics. And then we can start suppressing or stacking data like MLS status. I want it on market. So we can stack two categories together, or suppress. I want it off market. You have other filters as well. You have pre-foreclosure filters. So I want my pre-foreclosure to be a certain type or recorded on a certain date, auction date as well, maybe has a certain opening bid amount. Now we can also go into the ownership info, specify years of ownership, owner type, number of properties owned, tax exemption, the location of the owner. We also have the lien, bankruptcy, divorce filters, specifies, essentially allows you to stack. So back to the graph, if I want not just any pre-foreclosure, but one with more motivation, well, then I'll stack that pre-foreclosure with maybe an active bankruptcy as well, right? Because then I know for sure they're not going to be able to pay that pre-foreclosure because there's also a bankruptcy filed, or maybe an active lien. You could even specify the lien, and you can even suppress. So I want pre-foreclosures, but instead of having an active lien, how about no lien records, no bankruptcy records, no divorce records, just pre-foreclosures only. So again, you can stack or suppress. Recording dates, bankruptcy, divorce filing dates, lien amounts, delinquency year. And then the last two areas are valuation and equity info. So this is estimated value, rental value, gross yield, percentage, and over time, equity amounts, loan to value ratios, tax values. And finally, the mortgage information section. So I'd like a property with, up to 4 mortgage notes, certain balance remaining, certain loan to value ratio, cash buyer records, include those, not include those, free and clear, exclude those or include those, and then seller carryback, right? So the idea here is this is what I call the traditional method of searching. Is again, before technology, before computers, we would have gone to Shelby County, gone to the clerk and said, I want your pre-foreclosures. And then we would have had to take it at home, go through them manually to find the 163 that are off market, owned by a person, years of ownership and equity, right? Now, what we would have done then, at least in PropStream, is save them all. So you can check them all off and then finally add it to a list. And so I can add it to an existing list or create a new list. So I can call this Ron's pre-foreclosure list and then hit save. And so what this does is it saves my marketing lists, pretty much takes my results from the search page and it puts it into my My Properties page. Okay, so it's just doing its thing right now. Does anybody have any questions on that aspect? Pretty simplistic, right? You search a market, go into the filter, and then choose a category, and then add and remove things that you want, don't want.
Burton, real quick, one, not a question, but just a quick statement. One of the ways that I use that is when I'm working with different people. So whether it's, anybody that's on, on this or listening to this, if we're working together and maybe we come across a property together, right? So, I do this a lot with Cedric, so I'll pick on him. If, Cedric brings me, a deal that he's come across, or I got a deal that he and I are working together, I'll create that that what you just did, that folder with, say, Cedric's name, so that I know, and it makes it easier for me to follow up, right? Or as we're working with various properties, or I may do that with Pauline, may do that with Lawrence, Ashley, Barnett, whoever. So I've kind of used it as, kind of the save to be able to do what I think what you're going to talk about here shortly, but then also almost like a quasi kind of CRM in
Yeah.
some instances where I'm able to go back and, click on that folder that says Cedric's name, and then properties that I've saved under there that, hey, either we're going to prospect together, or, one of us has reached out to, that sort of thing. It's there. So it's easy reference.
Perfect. And then what Ron is talking about is anytime you build a list in the search page and save it, we store it in the My Properties page. So as you can see here, we can have like Amanda's list, Burton's list, and so forth. But here's where I'm going to leave you guys off with today's presentation, right? I mean, I'm not going to go over the skip tracing and the marketing, because that's self-explanatory, and we have videos on that in the video library. But here's what I'm going to leave you off with. I want you guys to start considering the idea that you're not, remember, talking to a list. You're talking to a person who's facing a situation or a problem. So I want you guys to start building problems, not building a list. Here's what I mean. Let's say I didn't know how to build a problem. Let's say I'm new. The unfortunate part with this industry is that we got kind of stagnant, to say the least, where instead of looking for problems, we just started looking for a list instead, right? So here's what I discovered. Everybody's looking for the same thing, right? Let me go down exactly the 3 golden rules, right? The 3 golden rules are: 1, usually needs to be off market. So the first thing I would do is go to MLS status and say on market, no. Second is usually equity, right? Now, when I say equity, I say it hesitantly because it depends on your strategy, right? If I only know wholesaling, then I need at least like maybe 30%, 40% or more, right? Because we got to get our assignment fee. But if I do like lease options and subject to, I can do loan to value ratio. I can look for somebody that has a high loan to value ratio, someone with very low equity. So the second golden rule has always been equity. All right. Hold on 1 second, man. My son is now on my case. 1 second, guys.
Yeah. So I definitely understand that. My kids went back to school from virtual school last semester, so I know how that is. Yeah. So any questions? If you want to gear up your questions, I can always tackle them. But of course, we got the expert here with Burton. So if you want to save or kind of get your questions together, then we can make sure to get those answered. Something else in addition, if you're interested in kind of playing around with this, I've got access to, kind of a free kind of 7-day trial. Burton, we'll kind of go over the pricing, but it's $99 a month for the kind of this full access. And then, Pauline, as you were looking at maybe building out a team, I think it's like $35 a month per person to get them access, to the web and to the mobile app. So you'll just kind of think about that. But
Hey
if you
guys,
go,
I'm so sorry about that. Yeah,
oh,
my
it's
son
okay.
got knocked out of his Zoom class, so he's bugging me.
Yeah, I was just telling everybody, Burton, man, I had my daughters here for virtual school last semester. They're back at school now, but so I was kind of part-time IT support for them as well. So I know how that is. Yeah, before you jump back in, I was just sharing with everybody, of course, if go ahead and gear up questions, but that they could, I've got my affiliate link with you guys, and I know we'll go through that at the end, but just wanted to share that there's a 7-day free trial that you can get by going to champspropertydata.com. And I'll put that in the chat, but it's champspropertydata.com, and you can go and get linked up with PropStream, do a 7-day free trial, and then play around with it and go from there. So
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then, so guys, I'm sorry to leave it off again. What I've discovered over the many years of working with investors and lenders and stuff is that everybody's following three golden rules. First one, again, is off market. Second one is usually a form of equity, high or low, depending on the strategy. The third one is motivation. And that's where we got lost. We started concluding that the motivation was some sort of list, like a lien list, or a vacant list of some sort, or maybe a free and clear list, or a senior owners list. Great concept. And I'm not saying to not do that anymore. You should definitely do that. But what I'm referring to is, again, I've known for a fact that people out there will sell for any other reasons than what you're seeing here, right? So for example, how about an off-market property with like 30% in equity or more? But the issue today is not that you're on a lien or pre-foreclosure or any of that. The issue is that it's a single family property that has 3 bedrooms, but only 1 bathroom. And the owner's been living in that house, it's an individual, for 10 years or more, right? Just using a random year, right? So like what I've done here is I'm not looking for a specific list. The problem today is that I'm going to call these owners and say, hey, how's your property? How's, that 1 bathroom treating you? Right? Or have you considered upgrading? Be more polite on that sense, right? So this is what I'm referring to, is that I didn't choose a list. Our system is designed to be treated like a buffet, to essentially just go in there and pull pieces of data together, right? And to build that list that no one's out looking for. In this case, the property owners with 1 bathroom that they have to share. Another thing I can consider is that President-elect Joe Biden just recently signed an executive order regarding extending evictions, right? So if people are now able to stay in their house a little bit, or in the rental property longer because evictions have been pushed back, so who's in trouble now? The landlords that can evict. So go to Shelby County and, for example, look for non-owner occupied properties that are occupied by a renter, right? Owned by a person who didn't expect someone not to pay the rent. And that person maybe has 1 or 2 mortgages on their property. So again, I didn't choose a list. The issue today is that you're a renter with a mortgage on the property, and it's also off market with equity. So the problem, again, is not that you're in a vacant list, you're not in a tax delinquency, you're not on a failed listing. It's just that you're renting a property in a pandemic with a mortgage. And if your person or the renter is not paying that rent anymore, then you're now a motivated seller because you probably want to get out of that mortgage at that point, right? So this is building problems. This is what I hope to leave you guys off with today, where whether it's PropStream, whether it's the next system or the next after that, remember, you guys are real estate engineers. You're out there to solve problems. So when you look at these filters, build the problem that you can solve. And in this sense, I can solve someone who has a mortgage and needs to get rid of their tenant. I don't mind paying your note and holding on to that property until we can get rid of the tenant, while you can't, because you have to pay a mortgage every month. So that's building problems. So thank you guys so much. I hope that helped you guys understand our system in its totality. Again, still just scratching the surface. We have List Automator, we have the mobile app. So make sure you guys join me weekly. I do breakout sessions and webinars, and then I have that video library. But today, the main goal was the 2 core features: how to analyze a property, run comps, print reports, and then building a list and how you can go about the traditional method or building the problem method.
Yeah, Burton, that's tremendous. This has been, great information. I learn, more as I've gone through these, and I've looked at different videos, and I've been using the software, but every time, I learn something new. And so that's always tremendous. And I loved your last point. That's great, for all of us to keep in mind. And Lawrence, as you're getting started, man, think about that from the problem that you solve. The more problems that you solve, the more ultimately, you earn and get paid, and all that's going to take care of itself. But, that's a great, kind of great mindset to have going to real estate, no matter what, lane that you're getting into. So I want to open up for questions real quick, Burton, if we could. Pauline's got her hand raised. She's being very polite. In doing so. So Pauline, if you got questions, anybody else, feel free to jump in, afterwards.
Yes, I was wondering if you guys could go over the pricing.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bert, you're on mute, but if you want to, hop in.
Yeah. Pricing can be found on our website, but just know that the pricing will be slightly different when you signed up with Ron's link. So if you go to propstream.com and click on pricing here, subscription, list automator, team members, and marketing. But Ron's link will give it to you for $97 a month. So just make sure you click through him.
Yeah. Yep. So, so Pauline, just to add that was champspropertydata.com. In full disclosure, I'm an affiliate with PropStream, so I do receive compensation from them for anybody that does sign up. So, just wanted to put that out there. Of course, verbally, and it's in writing on the site. But champspropertydata.com. You'll get the 7-day free trial, and then, as Burton said, it'll be $97 per month. And then you've got additional charges, of course, if you want to use the list automator, which is really cool. And then if you want to add team members, I think it's free if you add them, Burton, like just web, or I'm sorry, just mobile.
Yeah, if just so we have, like what you were saying earlier, bird dogs. So
Yeah.
we have these things called Scout. So if you just need someone who just is going to just add properties for you, then that's free. You get 5 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if that person wants to, have, deeper access, so if they want web access or deeper into the mobile, I think I've got my folks paying like $35.
Yes, for both full access to mobile and the desktop.
Yeah, absolutely. So hope that answers your question, Pauline.
Yes, it does. But what was the website again?
It's just propstream.com, and then hit the pricing button at the top.
Yeah, so that was to see the pricing at the main PropStream site. And then if you go to champspropertydata.com, that's where you'll basically that's my affiliate site, right, Pauline?
Yeah, sign up through him there to get that discount.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions? Lawrence, Ashley, Barnett, love to hear from each of you if you've got a question or comment or anything.
I'm good. I got notes and stuff, so I'm good. I just want to, I guess to say I'll connect with everybody on here, and all that good stuff, and reach out to everybody on here. But yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna digest this stuff and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lawrence, I'd recommend, like Burton mentioned earlier, there's some other, videos, when you go to the site, that sort of thing. They're on YouTube. I mean, there's so many ways to connect with Burton and you get, maybe if you got some specific questions, of course, man, I'm here. But if you got specific questions or things like that, you could get those answered. They do a real good job with their video library and being able to, to get those on the fly. I mean, I use it all the time. I think of something and then I hop in and likely there's a video on it speaking to it specifically. So definitely jump in with that. And then the big thing I'll add on to what Burton said earlier is that you got to take action, right? And this, as much as anybody, Lawrence, because you do that and everybody on here does that, but you got to take action. So don't get so bogged down into, how to do this or that. Just think of the problem, right? Put yourself in the mindset of a seller, and the better you can do that, your business really takes off. So if you think like the seller when you're in seller mode, and if you think like the buyer, so like Pauline mentioned earlier, you got to think like Pauline, right? If she's buying the property, I always think of buying like, am I spending money on my checking account? What would I want to have, right? So if I'm writing a check or swiping my debit card for it, what do I want to know, right? And to be comfortable moving forward with the seller, what's my problem? So, if I'm personally in that issue, right? If I'm facing foreclosure, I'm facing divorce, whatever it is, I've got to put myself in that mindset, Lawrence. And then as you think like them, that helps formulate your questions on what you would want to know. They want to know too, right? And so the more you can create that empathy and that understanding, that gets heard in your voice on the phone. And that makes people, gain that trust and confidence in you, which is, that's what business is based off, right? Trust and confidence. And so, I'd share that with you, man. Then, man, it'll jump off. I'm telling you, it will.
Just one quick, this kind of like popped in my head.
Yeah.
So I know Miss Pauline, she was talking about doing multi-units or whatever. And you have commercial units out here too. Do PropStream have anything that kind of ties into that?
Yeah, actually, that would have been isolated in our property characteristics. So for like Pauline, she could go to Shelby County and look at property characteristics, residential, and choose any of our multifamily options like apartments, condominiums, duplexes, triplexes. So they're under here.
All right. Good.
Well,
Good
hey,
stuff.
Ron, I got to step on out.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
have another one,
absolutely.
but thank you so much for having me.
Yep, absolutely. No, thanks, Burton. I appreciate it. Take care. Yep, thanks. Good stuff. Yeah, so that was Burton Alicando with PropStream. And listen, he's all over the place. As you get in the PropStream, you can actually email. How I got connected with him is I emailed support@propstream.com. And so he's able to get back with you. He's one of the folks on their team, and he's online all the time. If you're in Clubhouse, you can find him in different real estate rooms, sharing gems and nuggets. And so they're a tremendous company. As you see, they're willing, no matter the size of the audience, they're willing to add a resource, man. So definitely get plugged in if you see value. So if there's no other questions or anything, thank you, Ashley. Thanks, Barnett. Thanks, Pauline. And thank you, Lawrence and Joni, Cedric, everybody that has been on. This has been tremendous. Again, I'm Ron Brooks. I'd love to connect with you. I'll share this recording and any other resources. And as we have more training and everything like that, I'll present it to you guys as an option to participate. So again, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and go be great.
Thanks, Ron.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
All right. Take care, guys.